Hey everybody, greetings from the bulb lawn. It's looking great, and unfortunately Liam's not here to see it, but we'll send him some pictures. Today though, I'm not talking about the bulb lawn, I'm talking about hydrangeas. I'm on a mission. I have lots of hydrangea projects to do. First thing is I need to remove the hydrangeas that are in that little raised bed in front of the house. They're Incrediball hydrangeas and they just flop all the time, and we've tried so many different things with trimming them different ways, feeding them different ways, doing all kinds of things, and just every year it ends up being the same story. So we're going to replace them with something with sturdier stems, and hopefully that will do the trick. And then I also have to go into the hydrangea hideaway and really inspect those plants for some of the winter damage, because we had a really rough winter this year. We had really cold temperatures, like bottom of our zone, and lower temperatures, as well as tons of snow and an extended season. Oh, and the cold was here for a big chunk of time. So lots of damage back there to assess. And so I'm gonna just get started. It's evening time. I figure I'll get these pulled out so at least I can start tomorrow fresh with my task in hand. So let's give it a go. So my first task is putting down this tarp. Now this is not only to collect my debris, but I'm also going to use it to transport these dug up hydrangeas and move them to the backyard where I'm planning to put them. But before I dig them out, I'm going to cut back all of these little branches because they are like little spears as you're digging. So they're going to be grabbing at my hands and my feet. So going to just trim them right back. The nice thing about arborescent hydrangeas is that they're very forgiving when it comes to trimming. So you can trim them very, very low. You can trim them very, very high. You can trim them late into the spring. Basically, if you trim them before they start to bloom, they'll usually reshoot and you'll get blooms. It'll just be delaying the blooms. So very, very forgiving on that front. And one thing unique about this type of hydrangea is that it does spread in a clump, and you can just cut it into parts. So just use your spade to chop it up if you want, or you can see as I'm digging this out, some of the parts just kind of break off naturally. As long as there's a part of the plant and some root, it probably will take. These are very, very easy to divide. Once I got the plants out, time to add some fresh compost. And this is a product called Dairy Dew. All I do is pour it in over the top, just work it in a little bit into the soil. Any kind of compost will do, whether it's compost you make yourself, compost that you pick up someplace else. This one in particular also has cow manure in it, hence the name Dairy Dew, and it gets the job done. Okay, they are out and ready to be planted. So tomorrow I can start fresh, get these planted. I also will need to plant up the ones that I removed. I got some ideas on where we want to put those. We're just going to temporarily put them in the backyard. I need to get the sticks that I trimmed back, put those in probably the compost. I probably could try to root them because some of them I think would, but I'm not going to do that right now. Before I go to bed, I do want to go around the back, check on the hydrangea hideaway, assess the damage, and maybe trim off a couple broken pieces. Shouldn't be too bad, but I definitely know there was damage back there. Okay, back here it doesn't look like anything more than a weedy mess, but let's take a look at some of the hydrangeas. This is the Level Up Pink, and so far it made it through the winter with flying colors. They only have this one rated down to Zone 5, but it's definitely able to handle Zone 4. I'm sure it can even handle Zone 3, because it seems like every other panicle hydrangea. Then over here, this one here is one of the Invincibelle Sublimes, so that's coming back as we'd expect. That's an arborescent variety. This one here is the Tuff Stuff Top Fun. Now this one did take a little bit of a beating, so you can see definitely the snow load back here was at least 8 feet of snow on top of this, and there was a lot of ice. So we're going to be relying on a lot of its old, or on it blooming on new growth for this one, but it looks like, you know, some of them kind of came through. I think this is a new growth one. We're going to find out. But you can see it definitely is leafing out quite vigorously. I think it's going to actually be beautiful this year. There's a lot of new growth in there. Another Invincibelle Sublime. This one here is my Let's Dance Skyview, and this one really took a beating. You can see there were a lot of cracks. I know when I looked at it earlier, you could see actually the flower heads had just snapped off and stuff. So there's a chance that it's going to take a while before we start seeing blooms on it this year. Last year by this time, I mean, our spring was a lot farther along, and so we were able to, like, we were starting to see the bloom heads starting to appear, but this winter was so much more severe than previous winters. Let's see, we have some more panicle varieties over here. You know what? These actually came out really in good shape. So I can see there was like some damage on here, but that's not going to bother this thing. And I will kind of clean these out a little bit. Don't really have to, but I'm going to. This one here, is this my Bobo? I think it is. So you can see the snow load definitely did a number on this. So I think I have my snips. Let me, that's all I'm going to do is cut this off. You can see there's just a lot of rubbing and that type of thing from the ice, which is kind of unusual. We don't usually have that much of a problem. That wasn't a Bobo though. That was my Quick Fire Fab. Oh yeah, that was Quick Fire Fab. This one is an Invincibelle Ruby. So is this one over here. So these arborescens are definitely coming through for us. This one is my Bobo. No problems on this one. You know what? Actually, these came through really, really well. I do see on my Pinky Winky Prime though, this was definitely a spot where the ice and snow was just sitting on this and just beat them down. But that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them right here. And these new growth nodes, I mean, this is even blooming on this cracked piece, but I don't want any growth happening there because that's a really weak point. So we're going to cut it down here again, and I think it's going to be just fine. And then let's see, more mess going here. This is my Aurelia Sun King. Look at that. That thing is just gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful right now, even though, I mean, it's got these dead things that I got to pull off. Oh, and my Invincibelle Lace actually looks okay. Half of it was dead last year. This one here is my Limelight Prime. That one got a little bit of breakage as well, but that's just snow. This one is my Early Evolution. That's one of the earliest ones to bloom. And then I got to clean up my grass over here. But hey, you guys, this was a lot better than I thought. When I looked at it earlier, I saw a lot more. I saw these cracked branches and things, and I thought I'd be dealing with a lot more. I do have to figure out a weed situation, but I might have to ask Liam's sister to help me with that because I won't be here enough to be able to keep on it, but we'll see. Now it took a little muscle, but I was able to use the tarp to pull the plants to the backyard. And from there, I just dug a hole and put them in. I didn't do any prep on the soil. I didn't clear out any weeds. I am just putting them in the soil, giving them some water, and we'll see how they do. I've done this before with these, and sometimes, doing less is actually more with these. This is a temporary spot, although who knows, maybe they'll stay here forever. But I just wanted to make sure I got them in a place that they'll be out of the way, a place where they're going to get a decent amount of sunlight and they're going to be able to just take root and do their thing. Now, the thing I have to watch out for, though, is that they are going to do that clump spreading, so I could end up with a really dense hedge. I want to make sure all my hydrangeas get some of this compost because this extra organic matter is always good for these plants and they absolutely love it. So I'm adding some Dairy Dew soil amender. Now the soil amender is stronger than the Dairy Dew tree and shrub that I used in the bed earlier. This stuff I just put on the top around where I think the roots are going to be, and you can work it in if you're able to, but I generally just leave it on top of there. Put the mulch back. As it rains and as it's watered, those nutrients seep down into the soil, and the plants get the benefits of this compost and manure mixture. Then it was back to the front. I had done a little cleaning in the hell strip, which is the area between the sidewalk and the road. And also I had to get all the debris out of the road. You see, when the street sweeper came down our road, ours was one of the houses that had a car in front of it. They don't warn us when the street sweeper's coming, and they won't do another pass, so we're on our own on this one. I managed to get the tarp full of debris into the back of the van. When deciding how many to put in here, I think the official number, if you went by the measurement, would be 3. And eventually 3 would fill the space really nicely. But I kept hearing Liam's voice in the back of my head going, come on, I want more, I want it now. He was always a little impatient with this. So I tried 4, and then I finally landed on filling it right up with 5. This is a lot of plants in here, and if it fills in too much, the nice thing about this one is this is the type of plant that I can divide, take out, trim, abuse, do whatever I need to get it to look right. Now, when I was planting these, I decided I was going to give these a trim as well. I was just going to make it a little bit easier. Plus, I knew that these bigger stems were a little bit weak because they had been grown in this pot and they had been through a lot of transport. And so I just thought cutting down the tallest ones, it's going to delay some of the blooms, but I'm not too worried about that. I want these things to produce nice roots, and I didn't want them to be thinking about producing their blooms right away. So hopefully this is going to help. I'm not too worried about it. If it delays the blooms or reduces the blooms, that's not too big of a deal. Now when I plant, I kind of have my little system. I usually try to start with one in the middle, then I do my end ones, and then I do the ones in between. This way I don't have to concentrate so much on measuring. I just kind of eye it up. That's just the way I do it in this kind of situation. It works for me. Once I got them watered in, then it was off to the city compost where I dumped off all the debris. In the end, my plan for transport wasn't quite as tidy as I had expected, so I did have to take out the vacuum, get it all cleaned out. But hey, I've got my plants in, I got my debris in the compost, all is right with the world. When I got home, I had one more task, and that was adding aluminum sulfate to my soil around my macrophylla and my serrata hydrangeas. Now, this doesn't work on all hydrangeas, but on specific macrophylla and serratas, it can help one that is normally pink turn blue by changing the acidity of the soil. Half of my blooms on both of these had a really strong purple color, which means that they're almost there anyway. So by adding this aluminum sulfate, it should be pretty easy to get an even more blue or a richer purple color off of them. So worth trying. Now for this, I just sprinkle it around we call it the drip line, the area where the roots would be underneath. You do want to water this in really well afterwards, because if aluminum sulfate has too much contact with the roots, it can burn them and cause damage that you're going to see in the leaves later on. So you're going to want to get that watered in. This is something you do in early spring, and then you'll do it every 3 or 4 weeks. But once the flower starts blooming, then you can stop adding the aluminum sulfate. Because these are reblooming varieties, I might still keep adding a little bit more aluminum sulfate just to make sure that it affects the new blooms as well, but it's not entirely necessary. So I have to say I'm pretty happy with how this project went, but I will say those Incrediball Storm Proofs, they better live up to all the hype, because if they don't, I'm going to be very upset that we went through all the trouble of replacing the regular Incrediballs with those. But so far, I think it's going to look pretty good. Fingers are crossed that they do what they're supposed to do. It's also been really nice enjoying the bulb lawn. And I have to say, it still has a little bit of that kind of wild look to them. And the daffodils haven't multiplied like maybe I was hoping they would, but I'm going to give them a pass, because normally with bulbs like this, I would wait until the leaves turn yellow and they're kind of done before I cut them back. But because this is also our lawn, we have to cut the grass at some point, and the grass starts growing up quite a bit. We end up having to cut them down before maybe those bulbs get a full recharge. So I think they're going to maybe be a little sluggish. I'm just happy to see that they're blooming and they're doing very well. So that's nice to see. And we do get a lot of comments from neighbors, and people walking by will always come and stop, people taking pictures, that kind of thing. So I'm glad people get to enjoy it. This time of year, having these bright blooms in the yard, fantastic. And our neighbor has a lot of tulips too. So it's really nice to see both of us having lots of color in the yard. So always appreciate it. So, hey, I'll see you guys all very, very soon.